Hey guys, I'm Victoria Bond and welcome. Today I want to have a chat to you about taking responsibility. So we have got already points of view, considerations and judgments on about what that means. We've also received projections from other people, and society has had a little bit of an impact on our thoughts and our beliefs around what taking responsibility actually means. So this is something that I've been pondering for the last few months as I've been working with the concept of taking responsibility. I've noticed that there's two different frequencies that can be applied to this concept. There's a lower frequency and there's also a higher frequency when it comes to taking responsibility for your life. I've also been very curious with myself, with my patterns, with my family members, and also with my clients, and where they are playing, whether they are playing in the lower frequency of the vibration or in the higher frequency of the vibration of taking responsibility. There is many different elements to our living. There is the element of our jobs and how we receive money. There's also this element of family and being a part of a tribe. There's also the self. Okay, so it's really important for us to have a look at where we require to take responsibility, what energy, vibration, and frequency that requires to be applied and I want to say balanced through these different parts. So what we've got our work, which is a completely separate entity. We've got our family and our tribe, and we've also got ourselves as an individual soul having an experience. So a lot of the times we can get confused and think that all of these are just mixed up. It's just kind of like soup of living, isn't it? And in this soup of living, it's very much about, okay, we're in survival mode. Okay, we're in the survival mode to make things happen, to put food on the table, to procreate, to then raise those children. And a lot of the time, the self part, the self entity part of us can get a little bit knocked around. A lot of the time when we have children, we go through nearly an awakening, right? We kind of wake up because this little being is so present and so reliant on us. So this can bring up shadows and awakenings as well, because wherever there is a low frequency, there is an opposite of a high frequency. So we actually get to choose and navigate with the skills that we already have, that we were born with, to how we want to play it out. Okay. So it's very, very interesting how the old consciousness, how we used to function back in the day, the generations that came before us, how they would thrive in one area. So maybe in their job, in their business, they were successful, they made money, and then the tribe or the family unit would suffer in that area, or the self. So there's never really been a time in our reality, in this 3D reality here on earth, where we've been able to actually have all of the harmony with the self, with the tribe, and with the money. But we are here to be healthy and wealthy and happy. We're here to receive all of these things. And the past, where the consciousness wasn't at the level that it is now, where a lot of people were staying safe and staying unconscious to different things, that no longer is the reality, or does it have to be the reality now here in 2022 as I am recording this. So today is a very special day. Okay, and before I go into the different frequencies and how you can actually turn this up, change this around, and receive all the abundance and take full responsibility for you and your living, I want to tell you why today is such a special day. Today is the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022. Now, Victoria, this is me, about 3 years ago would have been like, whatever, no biggie. Wow, there's a few twos in there. That's pretty cool, but I'm not woo-woo enough to think that actually means anything. But the truth is, over the last 18 months, I have been on this incredible journey. Okay, so my journey began around about 6-7 years ago it began. I mean, obviously it began when I was born, but the journey of this expression of me and the harmony within the units of myself and my family and the energetics and the money and all of that really only started happening around about 18 months ago. So I started channeling light language. I started talking to spirits. I started having awareness of different entities, but especially in the last 18 months, I've been able to connect to light beings and channel through code, what I call light code. Some people might call it talking in tongues. Some people might call it galactic light coding. Like there's many different names, channeling. But for me, it's simply this energetic opening of this fifth dimensional and above, 5D and above. So I'm channeling from like the 12th dimension quite often now and opening these multi-dimensional portals along the way. Okay, so this is not what this talk is about, but just to give you a little bit of a kind of background on where I've been in this last 18 months. So 2222 didn't mean anything to me really. 1111 did, but I was kind of like come see, come saw, crystals and numbers and that stuff's all really, really great. But I never saw the significance of it. And I certainly didn't equate that to opening of portals. But today is a very special day because it is the 2222 portal. And this portal will be open and I will be channeling. It is actually open and it's got a lot to do with the intergenerational. It's got a lot to do with our lineage and this level of consciousness that we are choosing to bring as a collective here in 2022. The polarity seems very, very intense at the moment. The butting of the heads of this conscious and unconscious, the points of views, the judgments, the considerations, and we no longer can live in a way that is so a lower level of consciousness, more 3D than 5D. There is no wrong or right where we are sitting in our levels of consciousness, and there's no one that's better than anybody else or more gifted than anybody else. We're all unique souls here for a mission, no matter what we're choosing. And when we extend that lens out and we look towards what's actually happening, we can see the beauty of what we are creating. The consciousness is, in fact, leveling up. So when we are seeing the synchronicities, when we are seeing the matrix, we're seeing the gaps, when we're listening to the energetic hits and listening to our body and not just our mind, magic starts happening. So what has this got to do with taking responsibility? Well, like I said, everything has a lower frequency and a higher frequency, including ourselves. You know, I work a lot with human design. I work a lot with spirit, a lot with clients. I have a lot of coaching clients. I just love it. It's the most incredible thing. I'm a mother of 2 children that are homeschooled. I have a beautiful husband that works with me. My why is to help the kids of the world and help everybody else as well to raise their frequency with tools and processes that I help them with as I help to activate them. So it comes up and it comes up and it comes up. The shadow will come up as you are up leveling. As you up level, things come up and voices come in and roadblocks come in to stop you reaching the targets and the visions and the downloads that you have had in your body, you have had in your aura, you have had in your dreams. Why does this happen? Because of this old consciousness that has been, that the generations before us has gone through, of you can only have this or that, you can't have it all, or you must work hard for money, you must, a good day's work gives you a fair wage. These are very 3D points of views, and although they've served our grandparents and the great grandparents before them and yada 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 all the way back, it is no longer serving us. It is no longer serving us to keep ourselves small. And when we're keeping ourselves small and we're trying to stay, in path with those generations before us, stay in that same kind of level, then what happens, it starts to hurt, and we start going into a lower frequency of what it means to take responsibility. We start trying to take too much responsibility, which can be a lower frequency as well, or not enough, which can be a lower frequency, right? So we have to receive and embrace the harmonic energies of what it means to be in energetic alignment and in the highest level of frequency to abundantly shift and expand and grow and be in a 5D reality while having ease with the 3D. Okay, so there's the 4D as well, which is where the shadows and all these different things come up, and this is what my primary goal in life intention is, to help people through the 4D. So I'm going to give you some examples. Taking responsibility, right? Taking responsibility is about knowing that the world owes you nothing. The people in the world owe you nothing. Your husband and your children and your parents owe you nothing. And when we adapt this, or should I say, adopt this point of view that nobody owes me anything, I'm here to look after myself, it can create so much more communion than separation. The lower frequency of taking responsibility is believing that your parents and your partner and the world all owe you something. And we all know how that works, guys, because we've all done it. We all go into blame, or we go into shaming. We can go into gaslighting. We can go into these lower energetics, these lower frequency vibrations, which attracts people that are at the same vibration. We can go into the judging. We can go, into thinking at another level on a lower frequency, is to think that, as long as I'm okay, as long as everybody else is okay, then I'm okay. And we go into the martyr. But if we go into the martyr, then we're sacrificing ourselves, and we don't want to be sacrificing ourselves, because the truth is, if I'm wealthy, if I'm healthy, if I'm abundant, if I'm in the energetics of love and expansion and gratitude, there's no room to be the martyr, to be the sacrificial lamb. There's no room to be focusing on the hate and the blame and the judgment and the shoulda, coulda, woulda. That there is low energetics. The whole, I'm blaming my mum and dad because they were assholes and they didn't give me A, B, and C. Every single human being, even ones that have got fantastic parents, can blame their parents for their reality. But here's the thing. It's not your parents' fault. It's not the world's fault. It's not the economy's fault. It is not your husband or your wife's fault. Because if you take full responsibility for yourself, that means you look after you. You fill up your cup. You bring in so much abundance and love and fill yourself up that you are oozing. Your body is oozing with the overflow of love and expansion. And then something magical happens then. People that are on the outside of your aura, or within your aura, or within your household, or within your friendship lines, or your career, yourself, your tribe, all of these three things I talked about shift and change. Because what if it wasn't the world giving to us? What if we were giving to the world and we got to change the reality that was on the external? What if the external was all a perfect mirror? So even the assholes that we've experienced were gifts. So the high frequency is feeling that energetic alignment, and it doesn't have to cost you anything to do it. So when I first started doing this, and I started going down this rabbit hole as like this tornado of like consciousness, I made a couple of commitments to myself. And I committed to myself that I would always choose myself. I would always take responsibility for what was really going on. And that didn't mean put myself under a bus or sacrifice myself. I'm a 3/5 projector in HD, which means I do have this martyr energy. I used to cry all the time. I used to be depressed all the time. I used to have suicidal thoughts. I used to be like, when is this life over? This is so hard. Lower frequency. So now I know that I have to make success. I have to make motivation. I get to create my reality. I get to change my body if I want to change my body. Before, I was too afraid to get tattoos because of the points of views of other people on what it means to be an old person with tattoos. And then I realized I'm not even there yet. I might not even live until I'm old. So why not enjoy everything? Why not bring the rituals into my life? Why not connect to the beings that I want to connect to? Why not be a channel of multidimensional beings? Why don't I allow all of these codes to come through? Because I know I can do this and help other people to do the same and to learn to take responsibility for them and gently kick their ass. Like I've had my coaches kick my ass and say, look, the world owes you nothing. So if you want something from the world, give it to yourself. Love the world, because you will always get that reflection back. Taking responsibility for you means not being in the shitty relationship, not blaming people for your shit. It means taking responsibility for your body, what's going in your mouth, right? Sleeping enough, drinking enough water. It means looking after your human. When you look after your human will look after you. Like, it's so crazy how simple, although what I seem to be saying, what I say may seem to be a little bit like, what the hell, she's talking in riddles, right? Because I do a lot of channeling through, and the words can come out backwards and upside down. I used to think it was dyslexia, but now I just know that I'm a channel. But the truth is, we are all made of magic, and our souls have all come here to be this divine connection, to open the portals. And when we come together, our blueprints come together. And we've created these soul contracts of the highest frequency to come together with people. And even if there was some like conflict or resistance, we learned from those people. We grew, we expanded, and we can now say thank you, because as I come back in that lens and become the observer of my life, I realized that it was nothing my parents did that messed me up. It was everything that they did on a soul level that woke me up. I realized it wasn't the depression after having my child that nearly killed me. It was a fact that I was having a breakthrough and not a breakdown. And all the times my husband and I have nearly broken up and we can't understand each other. It's like we're from different planets, which I'm sure it's because we are. It's like we realize that we're 5D beings, and we're here to co-create, not just with children, but with energy, and expand our incredible vibration and frequency around the world to help awaken others. We just do it in different ways. He's in the back end of things, and I'm in the front end of things, because we want to do things in the way we want to do, because the world does not owe me anything, and Lotto is not going to come. And if it did, and we weren't ready for it, then the fact is we'd either lose it, or we would find within a couple of weeks after we bought ourselves some pretty things, the external had fueled us up, we'd feel empty again. So taking responsibility for fueling your vessel, for aligning your vessel, for making success happen, for creating it, for creating motivation and making motivation happen, for waking up and saying, I'm going to live. This is what I did. I made a commitment to myself, and I knew I was going to be judged. And I still, to this day, I'm not sure, because I really can't be bothered going backwards in my life. I want to keep going forward, whether it was the projections of other people going, what is she doing? Is she being selfish by choosing herself? Or was that simply the mirror of me my shadow, asking to come up and be cleared. And I do already know, actually, it was just that. Because now I don't judge myself. Now I can go away for a week without my family and go, I need some time out to look after myself, or I'm going to go buy myself something nice, or, I'm going to take the day off and take my kids to the beach, and we're not going to do any work. We're going to go traveling. We're going to homeschool. We're going to do things in a different way at #life by design. And we're going to see what happens. And if anyone wants to judge me, they can. Do you know why? Because I take full responsibility for my life. And that means I own what I'm doing. I'm staying in my own lane and I'm slaying it, right? I will never give up. I will never give in. I will always be available to work through my shadows. I'll always be available to receive the abundance of life, and also the lessons that I'm receiving when stuff on the 3D level seems a little bit crunchy, when money seems a little bit crunchy, when the world around me is turning into absolute chaos. Will I buy into that and start trying to take responsibility for other people's actions by judgment and projecting that judgment? No. Because what if there was nothing to judge and everyone took responsibility for their own selves, and they came from a level of high frequency and they slayed it in their own lane? What if our vibration, our frequency was so high that we had full trust and we could fully surrender into what we know to be true, by instead of limiting ourselves and making ourselves smaller to fit into a society, to pretend we are something so the tribe won't leave us behind? What if we spoke our truths? What if we allowed ourselves to be beautiful, successful, happy, thriving, alive, knowing, and be these channeled goddesses or gods to bring through our genius to the world? And this is what I do. I shine so other people can shine. I show up to show other people how to. And if they judge me, I say, thank you. Because now I got you thinking. I got you opening up to a possibility of what else is possible for me that I have not yet thought of. And she's doing something. And what is she doing? She's happy, she's light, she's bright. Is she perfect? No. And neither is anybody else, right? Neither is anybody else, because we're here to enjoy the juiciness of life. And when we decide to take full responsibility from this higher level of vibration and frequency and whatever, just, you know what I mean, the zzz, we know we're fully looked after and supported by God, the universe, the angels, the guides, the ancestors, ourselves, our higher self. What if we could start being our higher self now? What if we could be aware of the souls that we've experienced, our generations that came before us, and stop putting everybody and every spirit on a pedestal? And what if we started putting ourselves on a pedestal? And this is what I invite you to do now. And whether you're listening to this in years to come, whether you're listening to this now on the day of the 2222 portal, whether you are listening to this on a podcast, on YouTube, or on one of my channels, right? One of my spaces. Who knows what these spaces are going to look like in years to come? But if I hold on too tight to what I'm creating now, then it will leave no room to create more. So we must be continuously creating. And whatever and wherever you are listening to this, or whatever part of this you listen to, if you've made it this far, because it's a lot of energy. When I speak, a lot of vibration comes out, and frequency and invitations. It's not just the words, right? When I channel like this is called channeling. Know that it is relevant right now. Know that you are loved right now. Know that you are unique and you have superpowers, and there is nothing wrong with you. The chances are, if you are feeling like you just are not a person who's meant to do that, or you'll never get there in this lifetime, or you're not meant to be abundant or slim and healthy or whatever, have the juiciness of life or have the love of your life. If you're thinking any of those things, it's lower vibration, because anything you want, anything you desire, anything that comes into that vibration is an energetic match for you. You just have to align up the frequency and the vibration so you are an energetic match at a particular time. Now, this is something our human mind does not really have total control of. And we've seen this with moving, right? I desire and require and choose to move to the beach, and it's going to happen. But every time I try to control that, every time I try to say, well, it's the markets, or it's this, or it's that, or it's financial, I again am not taking responsibility for what is really happening, and what is really happening is energetic. Because truly my soul isn't choosing to move right at the second. Otherwise, it happens very, very quick. And if I really, really wanted to move right now, I could. And then I'd figure out the logistics later, right? But I have standards that I want to hold when I do that. So the energetic match and the pieces of the puzzle and the vortex has to fill in, the grid has to fill in before it is in alignment with my standards. So I will hold my standards, and I will keep bringing it in, and I will keep trusting and knowing that it's happening and taking responsibility for my energetics as I work on myself and work on being present within myself and know that it is all coming, right? So that's my example. So where are you having a dream? It might be like of traveling. It might be of the love of your life. It might be having this harmony within the work and the money and the tribe and the family and the love of your life, and also with yourself. Maybe it's the harmonics between that, right? If we can start focusing on our energy, on the high vibration, the high frequencies, and when the shadow comes out, we can love it anyway and send it off, then we will get to those spaces a lot faster than if we try to figure it out with our head. We have to start being it, right? I didn't want to wait until my hair was a certain way before I bought a hat, where I used to be like, I'll wait until I make this amount of money before I get a hat. So I worked on incentives, and all that created was burnout for me. But then I realized energetically, why don't you go buy a hat now, because it's going to make you money, rather than wait until you've got the money to buy the hat, right? So are you with me still? So what I did with coaches is I invested in coaches, and I did not have the money, but then it made me tenfold money. We've been told everything backwards. So you need to ask yourself, where am I taking responsibility for myself, or where am I buying into the reality of everybody else in the 3D and society and what I've been told, and making their truth more real than my own? Because that there is not taking responsibility, that there's been codependent. And now you're an adult, most probably, if you're listening to this. And now that you're an adult, you can say, how do I unadult? How do I stop adulting? And how do I go back to that childlike essence of me and start investing the time and the money in myself and creating the motivation, creating the success that I truly desire by taking full responsibility, body, mind, and soul. Watch what you are feeding this. Tap into this. Know in your authority in human design how to listen to your intuition. Know that the rituals and the signs that are coming forward for a reason. That is taking responsibility, and then asking a question: what is this? Show me the possibilities that I've yet not even tapped into, and allow me to see them with grace, with an open perspective, and the willingness to shift that perspective instantaneously. I'm going to leave that there, my friends, and I trust that those of you who are required to hear this have, throughout all time, space, and dimensions. So this is Victoria Bond coming to you from her town, with her children, with her family, in this exact space now, and this message will be carried through multi-dimensions right now in this portal. So please share this video wherever you may find it, or this audio, okay? So share it with somebody that you feel could really take something from it and shift with it. Know that what I brought through today is codes. It's codes of shifting. It's codes of alignment. And hopefully you got some of that mindset of, am I functioning in a lower or high vibration frequency when it comes to taking responsibility? No more martyring, no more feeling sorry for ourselves, no more blaming mummy and daddy for our reality. In fact, we want to be thanking everybody that's been in our reality to help us on the soul mission so we can go forward and share our mission and our purpose with so many. Sending you so much love. Namaste.